Check me out, man. When it comes to dating in the modern day, you gotta understand that relationships that are centered around lust will not last. Let me say that again. Relationships that are centered around lust will not last. This is something that's really prevalent today's day and age, that you really got to get in your mind if you're truly trying to build up a good relationship and a good life for yourself. So without further ado, let's break this bitch down real quick like a brick for y'all. So when I'm talking about the whole idea of lust, I'm just saying about how the relationship is centered around physical attraction and sex. That's all it really revolves around. That's all it's really about, and that's what it rooted from. If a relationship roots itself from lust, from sensual pleasures, and overall just sexual attraction, it's not gonna last at the end of the day. It's not gonna last and actually provide and bear ripe fruits and just good fruits to build up a good family, to build up a good life, to just build up an actual union between a divine masculine and a divine feminine. Because you got to understand this, like, let's keep it as straight up as a stop sign, because I've came across some studies, some claims, some statements that said how after around maybe 5 to 10 years, if you're in a sexual relationship with someone, you're gonna lose that sexual attraction and physical attraction to them. It's gonna lower the longer you go in that relationship. It's just biological human nature. We gotta understand that this vessel, this meat suit that we're wearing for the time being, is very animalistic still at the end of the day. Yes, we have human capabilities that animals like my dog can't comprehend and actually use in their day-to-day lives, but we still have those animal pre-settings into our brain, into our body, into our overall being. So you can't fight it. What you got to do is understand how it works. You got to understand how the game is played to put yourself in the right positions. You can't change the game. Let me say that again. You can't change the game. You got to put yourself in the right positions by understanding how it's played. You got to understand your biological system. You got to understand your psychological system. You got to understand how this all works together in all aspects of life, especially in relationships. Because like I said, that spark, that sexual attraction, that physical attraction fades away over time. It doesn't matter how good looking the person is, how hot the person is, how much of a dime piece they are. It's going to lose out over time. Because us as more educated and sophisticated animals want to spread our genetic offspring out into the world. It's not just through one means or through one partner. Yes, there's things like marriage and stuff like that that connects two together, and there's different reasons for marriage that we're going to be breaking down for in this video. But on a base animalistic level, there is no marriage out in the wilderness. There is no marriage out in the forest or in the ocean or in the air with the birds and stuff like that. There is none of that shit. Whoever's a quote-unquote alpha gets to spread their seed to as many mates that he can find. And that's what we are genetically holding. That's what we're genetically coded with. So if you center around your entire relationship around that principle, around that animalistic nature, guess what? It's not going to last. It's not going to be fruitful. It's not going to be something that's worth putting your time, energy, and effort in. I talked about on this channel how modern day relationships don't make sense because a lot of people get together for these reasons. They break up and then they never talk to each other. They get divorces. They never talk to each other. Their kids get the ramifications of that, and all that stuff eventually leads out to the point where what was a fucking point of getting together? Just to get a nut, just to get off, just have sex, just have that dopamine receptors fire up, those sensual pleasures fire up. Is that it? Is that all we're doing with this relationship? Is that all I'm doing with this time, energy, and effort? Yes, we might be compatible on certain levels of life, but what is the purpose? What is the main mission of us joining together, of us making a team? You got to understand that that's a team building concept. Marriage, you got to You got to realize this, and I broke this down more on the Patreon. Shout out to the Patreon. If you want to join up, become a member, get access to exclusive videos, full guides, occult lectures, as well as monthly masterminds where we do live calls with each other, break down a lot of different topics. You can go check out the link posted in the pinned comment of this video. But I broke it down more in depth of how in Kali Yuga, or the Dark Ages, how everything is going to be centered around sex, relationships, marriage, this and that. But to summarize a little bit of it, it's the whole concept of marriage, of unifying the man and woman, was much deeper back in the days, outside of the Kali Yuga, outside of the Dark Ages. It was much more about an actual purpose. Like you see back in those times, this family and that family could join their children together to build up a stronger army, or stronger empire, stronger force, for whatever it is that they're trying to doing. And then the man and woman would join together for not just sex. They would actually build up a family, build up a business, build up an empire, build up something together. They have a purpose. They're two parts of a team. They weren't just doing this, hey man, you look good, I look good, let's get it on. I'm not telling you to go out there in your day-to-day life and just completely forget about physical attraction when it comes to relationships. No, because that's part of the game. Like I said before, physical attraction gets people into the door. If you think someone's physically attractive, guess what? You're going to be more likely to talk to them, more likely to hear out what they say, more likely to actually approach them, more likely to actually want to hang out with them. If you're not physically attractive, it doesn't matter how compatible you are, you're not going to get them, they're not going to even get their foot into the door. Same thing applies to you. So get that out of the mind, that, oh man, like, I can't be physically attracted and this and that to my partner, to the person I'm trying to get with, potential suitors. But you got to understand, you got to look beyond that. You got to look past that. Most people are living in that level of consciousness. They're living in the lower three worlds. They're living in survival, sex, and status. If they get those down, they don't care about anything else. There's no purpose into life. If those are all met, guess what? They're completely in bliss. Ignorance is bliss. They don't want to actually pursue higher goals in life. They don't want to actually pursue higher purposes in life. They don't want to actually pursue higher states of consciousness. So when those people see something that's good looking and it works out the chemistry on the physical and biological level, guess what? They're okay with it. They don't look at red flags. They don't look at long-term plans and systems and a future that you see with this person. They don't care. They don't really look that deep. They're just looking at, okay, short-term pleasure. What can I get out of this right here, right now, for the time being, that's gonna gratify my body and my mind? Not my soul, but my mind and body. So all that comes together, and you gotta understand, like what I said before, 5 to 10 years down the line, if they get into a real relationship, guess what? That thing that they bound their entire bonding with together is gonna fade away. It's gonna crumble. It's like building up a house on sand. It's like building up a house on non-solid foundations. It's gonna crumble over time. When there's some friction, when there's some shakiness, it's gonna crumble. And it's gonna come down crashing. And guess what? Like I said in the intro to this video, all that stuff will not last, and you're gonna pay for it. You're gonna pay for all those mistakes you made in the past by listening just to your dick, by just listening to your lower nature, by just listening to lustful nature. Lust is not quote unquote evil or anything bad, but it's not productive towards your actual purpose in life. It's not actually gonna propel you to your highest potential, and that means in every aspect of life: relationships, your business, your mind, your body, your soul, your social interactions, your friends, all that stuff, man. If you're operating in a state of lust, it's just not going to be up to your highest potential. You're not going to be tapping into your true self, your highest self, your ultimate capabilities. So if you're picking up what I'm putting down, by centering your whole fucking relationship, which back in the days, like I was saying, were built around something higher than just sex and just physical attraction. If you do that, it's gonna just put you in a state and position where not only are you not gonna develop into your best version, but you're also gonna hold down that person. You guys are acting as dead weight to each other because you're just centering your whole consciousness, your whole focus in life around that. And this is what you see in the modern day. This is what you see in the world we live in right now, and especially in the West, especially on social media. You see all these guys talking about, I want to be a high value man, this and that, blah, blah, blah. But their whole persona, personality, purpose is around just sex, getting different women, stacking up a rotation. All the relationships are based around those lower end desires. Same thing with women. They're just trying to flaunt and just put out all this flash and all these pictures and all these videos and all these things to entice other guys, the high value men who are trying to get to that point and sleep with them. They're just kind of working together hand in hand. And guess what? They get together, they get in a relationship, 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, shit's done. That physical attraction dies out. Either the guy wants to go out and get more options, either he cheats, they break up, or the woman does it in their own end. Or worse off, they have kids, they have a family, they divorce, that shit gets fucked up, money's getting all messed up, the kids are in the midst of it, and you're just tearing down things for no reason. You are using your lower end animalistic mind to make decisions for you. You're not using your logical aspect of your mind. You're using the more emotional, reactive, and impulsive. So you got to understand that as you go throughout life, if relationships and all these opportunities come to you, because they will as you progress on this path, you got to use that conscious, logical side of you to actually discern and screen, almost like screening calls, and screen what is the actual purpose, what is the actual benefits of getting in this relationship. Is it just the physical and mental byproducts of sensual gratification, or is there something deeper, or is there something I can build with this person, or is there something that actually connects me to this person on a spiritual level? Don't let lust delude that, because lust can make you think that yes, there is things that you can build. Yes, there is a spiritual connection. Yes, there is all these great benefits, not just sex. It's not. Trust me, bro. I'm not gonna put you in a bad position. That's what lust is trying to do. That level of consciousness, that lower end self of you is trying to get you into that point, because it's gonna satisfy itself. But is that gonna satisfy your higher self? You gotta listen to that part. That's why spiritual practices are so important in any part of life. It doesn't matter if you're not trying to be a monk or this and that. Spiritual practices, to be able to listen to that higher self, get into those deep states of meditation, and actually let that intuition, let that inner guru, that inner guide talk to you, is so crucial for relationships, for business, for your overall development in life, for your career, for your family, for your social systems and all that stuff, man. It's so important, because if you're always listening to that lower end and you're listening to all these environmental influences and you're letting society dictate your actions and dictate your life, guess what? You're gonna be put in the position of the majority of the percentage of people, which is divorce, which is depression, which is anxiety, which is breakups, which is bad relationships, which is all this negative nonsense you don't want to put yourself into. You don't want to do that. Your higher self doesn't want to be put in that position. Trust me, it knows. Even though you might think that the short end, front end benefits are worth it, the back end is most important, is way more important. You got to be able to look 10 steps ahead on the chessboard. You can't just be living life in reactive and impulsory behavior. And when it comes to relationships, that lustful nature, if it takes over, you're going to be put in positions where you're going to be spending a lot of energy, time, effort, all this stuff for no positive return. Yes, we don't think of relationships as transactional opportunities, but at the end of the day, they really are. You're not going to be friends with someone who's a net negative to your life. You hang out with them, they're asking you for money, they're asking you to drive places, they're never helping you out, they're never there when you really need them. If you're about to get jumped, they're not gonna go help you. Like, they're just gonna watch you just get fucked up. Like, that's a net negative. You're not gonna hang out with that person. You're not gonna live with that person. You're not gonna actually be around them. Yet when there's sex involved, when there's lust involved, you don't even look at that stuff. You're so focused on that one thing that everything else doesn't matter. This is why toxic relationships are a real thing. This is why a lot of the relationships you see today are toxic, because they're centered around lust. They're not centered around something higher. They're never transcending that lustful nature to love and spiritual energy and spiritual growth and just overall development in all aspects of life, mind, body, and soul. They're just looking at things for the pleasure benefit of it, not the purposeful benefit of it. If people are around you, you have a good friend that's a net positive, you guys are bouncing off good ideas, he's there to help you out if you need that. You something happens in your job and you guys stay at his house, crash at his house, he's there for you. That's a person you want in your corner. That's a person you want in your life. You got to look at these types of things in relationships. Don't let romance and don't let lust take over that. It's still a relationship at the end of the day. It's still transactional at the end of the day. You got to be able to use that side of you, that logical side of you, to look at it like that. Yes, there's a different relationship when it comes to your friends and when it comes to your partner, but at the end of the day, when you really break it down, it's got to be a net positive. It's got to be a net positive. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your time, your energy, and your effort, because all those relationships centered around lust won't last. They're gonna crumble. You're gonna lose the attraction. You're gonna lose the spark, the sexual spark that you get from the beginning. And people out there who've been in relationships for a decent amount of time, you know this is true. You know this is fucking true. Don't lie to me. You know that after a year, 2 years, whatever the hell it is, that stuff fades away. It's not as it was in the beginning. And then, what's it called? You might be thinking, oh man, is there something wrong with me? Is there something wrong with her? No, this is just your biological behaviors. This is what you're preset to do. This is what you're preset to be. Spiritual knowledge and all that stuff, in reality, not just in the realm of relationships, is giving you insights to this human nature, this human existence, to put yourself in better positions. It's not about completely changing the game, like I said before, but spiritual knowledge, this type of wisdom, will give you the tools needed to actually be able to transcend your lower nature and put yourself in better positions around this game. It's not about beating the game, it's about being the best version you can be to actually operate on this plane of existence. So when you understand these concepts, you understand how all relationships centered around lust will not last. Guess what? You're not going to be prone to just hopping out whatever piece of pussy that you see. You're not going to be so prone to hopping out whatever relationship that you can muster up, that you can get. You're not going to do that because, first of all, you know that you're not trying to waste your time, your energy, and your efforts on something that's going to be able to just vanish and disappear in thin air after a year, after a couple months, after whatever amount of time it is. But you're also not going to be building towards your future if you are expending that time, expending that energy, expending on that effort. That's something not fruitful. I'm not telling you to not get in a relationship, but I'm telling you is be aware of where you're putting your time, energy, and effort towards, because those are things you cannot get back. Money, you can get back. You can get back. This is always flowing throughout the world. Time, you can't get back. Energy, you can't get back. And effort, you can't get back. Once you put it in, that's where it is. That's where it goes. And that's the end of the day. Don't put it into something you don't see an actual future for. And don't let lust and don't let your lower self trick you into thinking that there is a future there when there's actually not. You just want to manipulate yourself into getting those lower end gratifications and sensual pleasures. Don't let that part of you trick you. If you really see it for what the cards are laid out, you're going to put yourself in better positions in life to succeed. Not only relationship wise, but also when it comes to your business, your finances, your mental health, your spiritual development, your physical prowess, all that stuff, man. That's what we're really trying to get out with this video. That's the real message I'm trying to give you guys, bro. Please be careful of where you put that energy and effort and time into when it comes to relationships. If you don't see the end result, you don't see a positive result, don't put yourself in the position where you're gonna be able to reap what you saw at the end of the day. You're gonna have to live with the results that you've put yourself into from the past. Don't put yourself in that position. Don't let lust make you think that this is the right thing to do. Because relationships are something that are beautiful, that are something that's holistic, healthy, that are good for you. Don't think that this means that you can't get a relationship ever. Do not think that. Do not think semen retention means that. Do not think spirituality means that. Don't think any of that stuff, bro. There's a time and place for it, and there's a time and place in your life when you've developed into the point when you develop the mental capabilities, the physical capabilities, and the spiritual capabilities to put yourself in that relationship that will bear fruit for your life, that will bear fruit for the other person's life. If you're not at that position yet, guess what? You're going to be living in those lower three worlds: sex, survival, status, and that's all you're going to think about. So the relationships are going to center around that. You're going to survive, get all this money to be able to, of course, survive. Then you're going to be working on status. Okay, I'm going to get all this money. I'm trying to get all these cars. I'm trying to get all these clothes. Then I can get sex. Then I can get a relationship. But the relationship is centered around those lower three desires: survival, sex, status. Survival, sex, status. It's not looking at something like, okay, what are we going to create together? What are we trying to sustain together? What are we trying to build together? Where are we trying to go together? What can our souls teach each other on this journey? Marriage is supposed to be something that's sacred, and it's supposed to have a purpose. It's not supposed to have documents and this and that, like the government tries to make it out to be, to essentially control the relationship dynamics in the world. That's what it's really trying to do. Be like, okay, this one guy, if it's an animal world, can just impregnate all these women. So we're gonna put in positions of marriage where these documents and these things will help people just get their partner, be satisfied with it because they have sex, and then they go on there with their lives. But the actual spiritual and the actual conscious people will see through that. Marriage on the lower end level is just, okay, we're signing these documents that I can have sex with this person and they can have sex with me, and we might have a family, this and that. We're sharing money, this and that. But if it doesn't go out, okay, this person can go on their way, and this person can go on their way. That's all it really is a document to be like, okay, I'm going to spend my money on this person and I'm going to have sex with this person. But the actual reason for marriage, again, is unifying the divine feminine, unifying the divine masculine, having actual higher pursuits and higher goals with life, in life, whether that's family, whether that's your family business, whether that's your family name, whether that's the empire you're building, whether that's your spiritual development. That's what it's for. That's what it's always meant to be, but we've diluted it. Like we've diluted so many things in the world when it comes to this westernized society. We've just butchered shit down to the bones. Just fucked shit up down to the bones. But if you see past that, and you can learn from the ancient wisdom, and you can learn from the mistakes of the people you see around you, guess what? You don't have to go through that. You don't have to put yourself through that suffering. You don't have to put yourself through that absolute nonsense, through that absolute fuckery, because you're going to understand that relationships centered around lust will not last. So if you're picking up what I'm putting down, bro, you're going to go about life in a much more holistic manner, in a much more logical manner, in a way where you can see things for what they truly are. You're not going to be blinded by lust. You're not going to be, the veil of delusion of the your lower self is not going to be there. It's not going to be blocking you from the truth. You're going to be able to see things for what they truly are. You're going to be able to see past the matrix, the Maya, the illusion, whatever you want to call it. And that is just going to help you in every aspect of life, because you're not going to be able to be controlled by other people who are using your own biological nature to put you in these emotional states where you react how they want. You got to be the person that chooses your life from every single detail. Yes, there's a universal will, there's a divine will that has your fate already set in stone and has a plan for you, but you got to be able to listen. I believe you have free will in the state of you can listen either to your lower nature or your higher nature, but that fate is already etched in stone, and that fate for you to actually complete it revolves around you being able to listen to that higher self. So be able to take that choice, make that choice in every aspect of your life to listen to that higher self, that side of you that has the best interest for you in the long term, not just right here, right now. What can I get for my gratification, my ego, my senses, my physical body, and my mental capacity? What can benefit me? You gotta look past that. What's gonna really fulfill your soul? Because when you fulfill your soul, guess what? Your mind and body will be fulfilled. Will be fulfilled, bro. That's just the nature of reality. The spiritual is the highest realm, and you got to be able to look at life in that aspect. Don't just put yourself in positions where you're just trying to gratify your mind and body. Because guess what? When the mind and body are gratified, you still feel empty inside, and that's the soul telling you, hey man, don't forget about me. Don't forget about me. I'm the quote-unquote most important. So take that information, take these insights, and plug it into your life. And when it comes to relationships, because you're gonna be able to see how everyone else around you is like walking around with blinders on. They're on autopilot mode. Even though they know that this relationship is not gonna last, guess what? I'm gonna spend my money, my time, my energy, my effort into this bullshit. It's not gonna last. I'm gonna be worse off. They're gonna be worse off. And guess what? I just got a couple seconds of pleasure here and there. You're not gonna be in that position because you're gonna put this and plug it into your life. This is something that's gonna benefit you in every aspect, I'm telling you, man, because relationships are a big aspect of life, and they influence a lot of other aspects in life. You can see it in the modern world we live in today. Everything revolves around relationships. But you're not gonna revolve the relationship around lust. You're gonna revolve the relationship now around love and actual progress in life. So guess what? You're gonna progress everywhere in life. You're not gonna be lustifying over everything, because lust isn't just, lust isn't just about sex. You can be lusting over cars, you can be lusting over clothes, you can be lusting over material possessions, other people, other places. So when you're in the state of lust, you're gonna be always trying to grab things that are impermanent. But when you're in a state of love, because your relationship is around a state of love, because your own consciousness is around a state of love, guess what? You're gonna be able to flow with life, whatever life brings out your way, whether it's good or bad, but you're gonna be in a state of love and a state of gratitude, gratefulness, because everything else around your life is centered around that. It's like building the house, like I said before. If you're gonna build a house, something solid like love, which is eternal, which is what keeps this whole thing going, instead of lust, which is impermanent and it's reactionary, it's impulsive, you're gonna be able to build up a much stronger house, a much stronger life, and a much stronger mind, body, and soul. So the relationship has to follow suit. And that all starts from you and your mental perspectives and how you view the world and how you view life in general. Don't let those blinders and that autopilot mode by living in the lower three worlds of sex, survival, and status just make you completely delusional to the real truth. Look past the veil, look past the matrix, and look past the mind, because I'm out here in the field, in the flesh, dropping you out that game so you guys can make these gains, and I'm out here. Peace.